What's up? This is my 1978 C30. She's a looker, if you will. As in, don't look her in the eyes. She'll make you really feel good about yourself. I'm doing this truck for myself. It's your typical C30 build, bagged, whatever. Getting a 12 valve, getting some sort of manual trans. I don't know yet. I don't own one for it yet. It's a 78, pretty cool. Hand louvered hood, pretty neat. It's Hawaiian blue over light blue with blue interior. Interior is really nice. Cab's roof is gray. The cab I got on the truck was very bad, so I cab swapped it. Not why I'm here. Enough about me. More about this. As you can see, this kind of sucks. These trucks are kind of plagued with some dumb stuff. A C10 is not too hard to get to lay rocker, but much like a C10, the frame kind of goes past the pinch welds a little bit. So as you can see, this is aired out, not on the pinch welds. That sucks. It's aired out in the front. I've got the rear on blocks. It's 4-linked. There's no panhard yet. I was going to do a bag over axle, plan to now do a bag behind axle, not on links. Well, obviously the links are up front, but you get what I'm saying. I'm not ready to finish the back yet, but I'm very discouraged with the front. Right now, I have Z'd the front 3.5 inches up and 1.5 inches forward. I have not Z'd the front core support area back down yet. We can address that later, but I have the front clip mocked up. I have cab mounts in the cab now. So at one point it did look like it laid rocker, but not with cab mounts. And there's a couple limiting factors. So right now, my upper ball joint angle is stressing. I don't want to address that yet. I have new control arms with new ball joints to go up front. I'm not sure if I'm going to pie cut them yet. I want to screw around with the lower control arms first. Right now I have a 2600 series, a D2600 bag. It's not a Slam Specialties, it's airlift bag. And it's cool, you know, it's way cooler than it was at stock height, but it's not great. So to do this, people pocket control arms, which is where you would take an 8-inch pipe, something thick, 1/4-inch wall or something. These control arms are very, very thick from factory. I don't know if it's just C30s or C10s as well, not sure. But they'll cut an 8-inch circle, inset a 2-inch cup, put the bag at the bottom of the cup, or what I've seen people do is cut the ball joint spot off of the control arm and relocate it up. I think that's the route I'm gonna go. I don't have any Schedule 40 or 80 or anything big 8-inch pipe, and my local metal supply can't get it for a reasonable price, and I'm a cheap prick. But not only that, aired up to a ride height. I live in Florida. I want this thing fairly low, even at ride height. You know, I want it to lay rocker, and that was kind of the whole point of this. It's a stock frame body drop. I cut 4 inches out of the chassis, and I welded in some 3-inch wide, 4-inch tall, 1/4-inch thick frame, square tube, up that contours with the frame, and it'll all get fully boxed. So I'm not too worried about the chassis having strength issues, and it'll now lay rocker at the same time it lays frame, which is how it should be, in my opinion. But with that said, I think I'm going to relocate the ball joint not only up, but in just a scotch. Probably, I don't know. I'll have to measure. I don't know, but I want to say probably 3/4 of an inch, maybe a 1/2 inch, just to take some of the negative camber away at ride height. You could take camber away by extending the upper or screwing with shims. It's a terrible design, in my opinion. The upper control arms are shimmed off of the frame with what looks like old school body shims, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. If I were to do this all again, I would go get an OBS Chevy, 88 to 98, 3500 front end, and I would just weld that front clip to the front of this frame when I did my Z. I think it's a better control arm setup. Control arms seem to be a little bit less money, and I don't know, it just looks like a better idea. These all sit on rods, and I just don't like it, but whatever. Aside from all of that, I do think that's my plan of action, is to go up with those and then check and see if my upper ball joint is still my limiting factor from laying crossmember on the ground. I'll relieve the stress on the ball joint. I'll probably go, right now the control arm sits flat and the ball joint's up. I'll probably knock 15 degrees out of it. I think 15 degrees would be enough playroom to go up in wheel size or tire size if I deviate away from stocks, which I probably will, I think. but I don't have the money for that right now. But either way, my plan of action right now is to take my stock control arms out, cut the ball joints off, move it in. And my bag mount right now, the lower bag mount is like a spring pocket, whatever they call them, a pedestal mount. It's about 3 inches tall, which is a bit too tall. As you can see, the truck is a bit too tall. So I'm gonna cut a little bit out of it, maybe even cut the round plate off the top of it and just weld it into the control arm and see where it lands depending on how the bag squishes into it. So if I, in theory, cut the ball joint up, in, weld it back together, brace it all, I shouldn't need to pocket the control arm now with the control arm mount drop a little bit, or the bag mount drop a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and try that, and I'll show you guys now. I mean, it airs up very well, but again, it airs up instantly because the bag is bottomed out right now. There's no squish at all other than bump stop. So I mean, 10 PSI is already picking the truck up, which is nice, and I do think people don't do that enough. I've had trucks here that 50 PSI, 60 PSI, then start to pick the truck up, and bags ride like shit, bags this, bags that. Yeah, fucking set your shit up right, and it's not that bad. It drives me nuts, but I'm not gonna be the one to judge. I've done plenty of shitty shit. So right now I've got it just set up on shop air. Obviously it's an incomplete truck, but you will see, I mean, it airs up pretty well and quite quickly. It's nothing too special right now, just stock stuff, but that is right there all the way back at, I want to call it stock height. The control arms are about maxed out up, so as you can see, there's quite a lot of lift that it can do, but it doesn't go low enough. So we'll air it out and we will get to taking it apart. Airs out like very, very slow with no weight of the motor. Not only that, but I just have it airing out through a little valve. So. But who doesn't like to watch it go down? Giggity. Hey, can you imagine that? I can't get with the people that just bag their stuff and they're like, oh, it's low. And like, yeah, it's lower. You see it in a parking lot. I mean, it's cool to see, but like, if you're gonna go through the work to do that, don't end there. Don't end there. Put that rocker on the ground. Don't end there. Whatever. Let's get to it. All right, so I pulled the hood off, make it a little easier. I kind of got the front clip just mocked up on there anyway. It's not really done in any sort of way. I gotta cut the fenders to piss, and I haven't even finished boxing in my Z or anything like that. But this is what I mean. This is very unacceptable. This is aired out. I could put a jack under that cross member. That is horse shit. But as you can see, nowhere near good enough. So I'm gonna have to rectify that. That lower control arm where I cut the bump stop off should damn near touch that upper spring mount there. So let's take care of that. I smoothed my firewall out before I put it all together. Well, I smoothed half of it out. That side's gonna have brakes and stuff. I wasn't really going for any sort of show, anything. And quite frankly, I mean, it's literally just Raptor liner. Put one of my little emblem things in it, whatever. But should be pretty cool, I guess. Let me show you the interior of this thing real quick. I'm kind of proud of it. It's kind of full of stuff right now, but it's pretty nice. I mean, it's nothing too crazy. Door cards are beat to hell, but dash is pretty all right. I bedlinered the entire truck blue. Like, I taped off the top and where I needed to paint. So I rattle canned that to match. Rattle canned that, almost matches. Matches good enough for me. Rattle canned the light blue, kind of like faux patinaed it, whatever. I got to do the cab corner yet, so I didn't really take too much time trying, since I'm just going to do it again. But I mean, the seats, I thought the seats were redone until I found the original build sheet still under one of the seats. So pretty cool, but check this out. When have you seen a square body door that you could just push shut? Incredible. Incredible. You know? Oh. Thing of beauty. Thing of beauty. All right, let's get back to it. I'm going to pull this all apart. I'll zip the wheels off, and then I guess zip the lower control arms off. Shouldn't be too bad. I just put those drop spindles on, so it should all come apart pretty easy. I guess I'll pull the upper control arms off too. Whatever. I'll see you guys in a little bit. We'll get right back to it. All right, ladies and mentally gentle. I got the control arms out pretty easy. It's 4 nuts that hold 2 U-bolts. They have little indexing holes in the cross member that locate them. As you can see, I already cut the bump stops off of these a long time ago when I just pulled the suspension out and wanted to look at it. There's some spot welds. I'm going to go ahead and drill these spot welds out and then bang those off. What I plan on doing is cutting it right about there, raising it. And I also want to spray the funk off this junk real quick. I am going to leave these ball joints in for now. No sense in pressing ball joints in yet, just to weld right next to them, get them really hot, and then fuck them up. So I'd rather just screw up the old shitty ones because I don't care. And then, yeah, at some point I do plan on pressing new ball joints into these. Maybe. I should. Oh, I don't know, man. It's tight. It's barely got any grass in it. Yeah, no, I will. But for now, let's do that. Got the little shebang back here. Need to box that. Obviously, I'm going to box it all the way up. It is boxed from from cab under. But, you know, whatever. I have to fish plate everything still. Those bars are only tacked in. Yada, yada, yada. Axle brackets only tacked on. You get the gist. Yeah, you get it. You can see a failed attempt at control arms over there. Don't look at those. Not too thrilled with those. Got those bump stops drilled. It's just 5 spot welds. I guess on the aftermarket control arms, they're not spot welded. They're stitch welded along the side, which will probably be a little easier. Those brackets are really pretty thick. I'm not too worried about going through the control arm there. Cleaning the gunk off it real quick, I noticed that both ball joints are fucking welded into the control arm. Somebody was a little paranoid or whatever. I don't know, maybe they kept popping on them but not killing the truck off or something. I have no idea. Pretty bizarre though, but whatever. Both of them are like that, which is unfortunate. I'm not going to cut them off right now, but I'll continue to modify these control arms, though maybe I shouldn't, whatever. But at another point, I will end up just new ball joints, clean the holes, whatever. I'm going to clean this one up, dry it up a little bit, and then make my marks and show you all what I'm thinking. All right, let's go over what we did here. So you can see this isn't done. Judge me on it if you want. It's still hot. Just lifted it on top of itself, moved it back 3/4 of an inch to try to narrow the track width a little bit, fix the camber while it's aired up. I can always play around with a little bit of a front spacer. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but that's all right. I do plan to gusset from here to here on both sides, and I think it'll be plenty strong. With that said, I also took some out of the bag cup. I took 1 inch overall height out of this, and in the control arm like this, I was worried maybe it would have clearance issues. Rubber bellow sitting on this, but aired out all the way, compressed. The bellow still sits above that, so that's nice. You can see here on the other one that's still in the truck just how tall they really were. I took 1 inch out, like I said. I believe they're probably 2.5 inch overall height originally, but I'm not gonna plate those control arms up yet entirely until A, I prove that they work, B, I have to pull the cab back off of this. The inner frame rail that I put in to the actually you can see it right there, that I started to put in. Like I said, it's 3 inch by 4 inch, 3 inch wide, 4 inch tall, 1/4 inch thick. I ran that the whole length of the chassis under the cab, and then I do plan to box it in and connect it to the rear piece there. So not too worried about that, but I do have to finish weld the entire bottom of that, and the easiest way for me to do that is to just blow this big toilet all back apart, flip the chassis, and then I guess just stitch weld the bottom. Be better than doing it overhead anyway. So I'm gonna get these in. I failed to show, maybe I'll get the lowers in, we'll air it out, and then check out the upper control arms. I failed to show in earlier clip there just exactly what I meant, but as you can see, the control arm, the ball joint sitting here, the control arm sitting up at a bigger angle.
I plan to pretty much just level that out. I'm not sure if I'm gonna relieve cut the upper, pull it out, space it. I wouldn't cut it all the way off. I would just cut across the top, pry it out, get the 15 degrees I'd like out of it, and then make a little fillet piece, and then probably cap the whole thing to keep it strong. I have 2 control arms brand new to screw around with. I could even get crazy and just cut the end off of this, weld it to the new control arm. But I don't know. I don't know. That's a thing for another day, or maybe the end iteration of this video. But let me get this back together, and we'll set it on the ground and see if we can get those pinch welds to actually sit on the concrete floor. I know, please don't judge the chassis on this entirely. I'm trying to do this as cheap as possible, and I think it'll be, you know, plenty fine. I don't really plan to do too much up front. I mean, sure, the weight of a 12 valve will be on it, I guess, whatever. There's actually a chassis over there that I made from cross member all the way back that'll be going to that truck there. No, it's not broken in half, it's just all apart. But might as well be broken in half. But I basically just copied what I did and then made frame rails all the way to the front, and then docked them into the front, whatever, front clip there. Like I said, that's all gonna get pretty much redone. I gotta hack that all up a bunch and then plate it all entirely. And I'd like to gusset it inside before I plate it, but whatever, another video. Let's just focus on control arms. So let me cut that other bag mount down. I'll mount these lowers back up, and I guess we'll see what she does. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It'd be great if the uppers were just fine. If I didn't have to do anything to the uppers. Like I said, I got some brandy new ones sitting, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on that. So let's get right back into it. Alrighty, I haven't aired it out yet, so I don't really know exactly what it's going to do. I have blocks in the rear holding the rear end up, just enough to roll the truck. So when it was aired out, it sat level. I have the blocks removed from the rear now, so let's see what it'll do. Oh, it's getting caught on the tires, on the inner fenders. So rear rocker is touching ground. Front rocker looks like it still needs 3/4 of an inch, maybe. Let's give her a little bounce, see if it's on tires at all. What do you think? It's probably 3/4 of an inch in the front still to go down. I mean, it's pretty good. Don't think I could get the jack under the front core support like I did earlier, which is good, but this is where I think we're being hung up. If you look, that ball joint angle is real unhappy. So I think what I need to do really is cut them and then tilt them down. I think 15 degrees would do it just fine. Sorry, that was a weird camera angle, but I think that's gonna call it for the night. But that goes to show the importance of actually either cupping or stepping control arms. I don't know if a lot of people like stepped control arms. It seems to be kind of the easy way out. Definitely the cheaper way out, seeing as 8-inch DOM or whatever that big pipe people uses isn't exactly everywhere or cheap. You can buy pre-done cups to weld in. They're still, I think I just looked at a set last night. They were like $110 or something like that, plus shipping. Maybe you can buy cheaper ones. I didn't really research like mad, but I don't know. That's free. I don't know. I read online somewhere. Oh, that's a nail. That sucks. I read online somewhere something about the scrub angle, and well, I'm American, so I don't know what a scrub angle is. And if I don't know what it is, I don't give a fuck. So take that into note. I'm sure we'll be revisiting this because my scrub angle is terrible and I hate my life or something. But for now, I would say that's pretty good. Man, it's all right. It's better than it was, but that 3/4 of an inch, it bugs me. All right. I guess that concludes it until I do uppers. Or maybe I splice it here and I did uppers. Don't count your breath. Hold your breath, count your breath. I don't know, whatever. Certainly don't count your breaths. You'll be counting the rest of your life. Poop. All right, thanks guys. Okay, it's bright and sunny. I lied. I didn't end the video here. You can see, like I showed, the ball joints are maxed out like crazy. I knocked those upper ball joints loose, knocked them out of their conical seat. I didn't really notice the truck get any lower, but they were maxed out, and that was very evident. So I've seen internet photos. Maybe I'll try to clip it in right there. That's an upside down control arm on the opposite side with the ball joint mounted, well, upside down. But you got to trim a bunch of stuff. I don't know. I don't want to get made fun of, says the dude with the world's shittiest truck. So I ended up cutting a slit. You can see this is an unmodified one. This is a stock one to relieve some of the ball joint angle. I tried to measure what I could for 15 degrees, but I measured physically how much I cut and then what I bent the arm. So I feel like I'm pretty confident in the ability to being able to replicate it to this arm so they match. And even then, I don't really think it matters all that much that they match. But I also did find this. Like I said earlier, these control arms, they use like body shims to shim out, and it's a really stupid setup. But anyway, look at how much space there is there, okay? And then if you go to the passenger side, you can see that there isn't that much, and that's fine. I don't really care. I chalk that up to alignment stuff previously, don't care. But check that out. That is definitely limiting the upper control arm from going any lower. So I am gonna trim up those control arms, both of them, even though just one of them is hitting. I am gonna just come back and go a little bit further. Does that screw with the structural integrity? I have cut this frame in half several times in several different spots. Who gives a shit? So let's do that. I'm gonna do this one up. I ground the spot welds out and then knocked the ball joint through, pulled the rivets. Like I said, I just took the ball joint out. I didn't want to get it hot. And then I used a straight edge, and I found a nice median point that stayed true across the control arm from this pivot arm. Measured it out so that it was nice and square with that. And then I cut it and then tried to eyeball a 15 degree with my protractor and then knocked it in. But we'll see. Let's get it all done and we'll do it. Check this out. This sucks. My neighbor's dog killed. I had 6 outdoor cats. Their pit bull got loose and killed 5 of my 6 cats. The only one left. Where is she? Oh, she just had little babies. I don't want any cats. Now I got 3 again. But I also don't want my neighbor's pit bull killing my cats. It can't anymore. Read into it if you'd like. But let's see what we can do here. All right, so I got the upper control arms all back in, tightened up, bolted up. I just set the, I guess that would be camber caster adjustment with those dumbass body shims right back to what the old control arms were. I have no idea what they are. Obviously the truck's gonna need extensive alignment, whatever. But I haven't aired it out yet. I do think I might have achieved the goal there, but I had to cut the inner fender on the passenger side. I did not have to cut it on the driver's side since I already had it cut.
But let's air this jalop out and see just about what we got. I think it should actually sit on the rockers now, or pinch welds or whatever. I wish I had a better way of airing it out a little bit faster, but I'll take what I can get. Before we had 3/4 of an inch. It's just touching in the rear now. Oh man, I don't know, it's real close. It might even be on it. Oh man, I think I gotta call that. I mean, let's take a look. It's right there. I think I can call that. It goes to show how unlevel my pinch welds and garage floor are. But as you can see, it alleviated a lot of the ball joint angle, which is nice. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it. Certainly can't fit a floor jack under it anymore, but maybe I can cut these pinch welds off and drive it aired out. Who knows? Man, that's super exciting. But that'll go to show you just what you need to do. I'm not saying that this is the right way to do it. If you can afford to buy some actual engineered and well thought out control arms, I mean, they're getting cheaper and cheaper as more and more people do these trucks. So there's a nice set on eBay. I don't know who makes them offhand. I can't remember. But I've actually felt them in person, and they're not cheap, chintzy trash. They're actually pretty damn nice, which is pretty cool. But, man, that's exciting. But there's your run-of-the-mill gist on how to actually sit one of these things on its pinch welds. 3.5-inch Z up. 1.5-inch Z, or I guess the Z was forward, up and forward. So 3.5 inches up, 1.5 inches forward. I've seen people do 2 inches forward. I just didn't want to have to get into the firewall, and it looks like I won't have to, which is nice. But I'm not saying what's what. If you buy some of the control arms, most of the control arms incorporate the move forward in the control arm, which is nice. But obviously I didn't do that. I didn't really look into control arms much before I did my Z, and now I'm kind of limited, I think, to stock arms unless I can find somebody that makes control arms that don't push it forward. But I could also always make my own if it really boiled down to it. I think I'm going to save my old ones to make jigs from, and maybe someday I do make my own, but I'm not too worried about it right now. The whole goal of this truck was to be kind of backyard, but safe, and I do want to pull my car trailer with it. But either way, on a tangent, sorry. To get it to lay pinch weld, 3.5-inch Z up with a 1.5-inch Z forward seems to keep the wheels very, very centered in the wheel wells while it's aired out. That was more of a goal to me than when it was aired up. Obviously, because of the canter of the suspension, it doesn't travel on a truly vertical plane. And then I shortened the frame under the cab 4 inches. So now it's 3-inch by 4-inch square or rectangle tube for frame rails under there, and then obviously a pretty hardy notch in the rear. These are actually my dad's tires. They are much bigger, not much bigger, but they're bigger than stock. Stock was 285/35 or something. What the hell was it? 235/85s were the stock tire size. I didn't have any, and they kept going flat. Obviously, that's not good to measure from, and these are brand new. So I marked them, pulled them off. These are 265. Yeah, 265/75. These are 33s. But I wanted to use these to build my notch in case I do step up to 22.5s. I would like to get some 22s. I don't think I'd run Alcoas. I think I just want steels, paint them back to that yucky gray that the truck has now. I'm kind of fond of it, to be honest, but that seems to be what you got to do to at least backyard build your shitty, rotten C30. I'm really happy to not be walking away from this. I really only ever screw with this truck usually Sunday and into Monday, and I'm pretty excited to actually be able to look at it now, not have to pick it up, move it outside, pick it up, put the rear end under it, sit it, and then look at it still raked. Now it's all together enough to actually air up and roll, which is pretty cool. So, but thank you
for checking this out. I look forward to doing more on this. I don't know. I don't know. It'll probably never get finished or something. Who knows? But I'm going to try. I'm going to fucking try. But yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate it. Good luck on yours. Post videos. Make shit. Even if it's backyard hack shit like that. I mean, don't get it right, get it running. It's a great motto to live by. David Freiberger was very, very accurate with that one. And post videos of it. If you want to make videos, people will watch this shit. I mean, I'm not anything special. That's obvious. You see the shit I do. It's just shit that's been done over and over and over again, year after year after year on the internet. You know, you're probably not going to do something that nobody's done before. So just do it. Make a video. It'll give you something to look back on. Thanks guys, appreciate it. Good luck. Post some shit up. Go do some cool shit.